The Biden administration is engaging in the biggest cover-up ever after erasing the records of $83 billion worth of U.S. weapons and training and aid given to Afghanistan's armed forces, which had been taken by the Taliban. Meanwhile, Jen Psaki refuses to discuss President Joe Biden's leaked phone call with ex-Afghanistan president, which revealed that Biden knew that the Afghan army was collapsing under the pressure of the Taliban and that Afghanistan was going to crumble. But what did he do instead of withdrawing American troops? He said, "Just make it look like you're winning. Who cares if it's true?" Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today on the internet, we need to talk about the biggest cover-up ever. Here on the Daily Mail, the Taliban show off dozens of US-made armored vehicles and weaponry during victory parades, which even feature helicopter air displays. So the Biden administration is currently deleting all information on all of the American equipment, the American uniforms, the American weapons that have been captured by the Taliban, to which the Taliban have been doing little air shows, basically showing off their loot. And I find it amazing that Joe Biden is trying to hide his utter failures by deleting records, but you can literally see the pictures for yourselves. The Taliban has American guns. But we're going to talk about all that and more. But before we do, remember to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for updates for future content, and if you like my videos, share the video with your family and friends and on social media. I also ask that you consider supporting the channel by joining me on Patreon or Subscribestar, as this channel is currently not monetized and supported by viewers like you. Okay, so jumping over to the story. Here it says, the Biden administration has begun scrubbing public records detailing the $82 billion that U.S. investment in Afghanistan's armed forces to protect Afghan officials and military officers from Taliban reprisals. Federal agencies have been told to remove information detailing the colossal investment from the website as Afghanistan's new rulers show off their newly acquired hardware. Right. So, all in all, it is believed that the Taliban has seized an air force worth tens of millions of dollars, although U.S. officials say aircraft were disabled before departure of international troops. So here's the big problem. It doesn't matter if they disabled the Air Force or disabled some of the vehicles, the Taliban can still sell that technology to China, which I'm sure they will. Now, some of you may even be familiar with the fact that Biden abandoned U.S. service dogs that were captured by the Taliban. Now, dogs, for crying out loud, they left behind the puppies. But not only that, they left behind thousands of Americans. Going over to the next story. Nothing to see here. Psaki refuses to discuss Joe's leaked call with ex-Afghanistan president that reveals that Biden knew the Afghan army was collapsing because it was private. The context of the reporting is consistent according to Jen Psaki. Biden focused much of his last call with Ghani on his public perception problem in the fight against the Taliban. Now, according to Representative Jody Hice, changing perception was simply a political spin, not a national security strategy, and I happen to agree. Basically, Biden knew that Afghanistan had kicked the bucket, but instead of evacuating Americans, he decided to botch the whole thing, right? There was attacks, they did drone strikes, there were civilian casualties. They left behind thousands of Americans and then lied to the American public? Oh, hundreds of people are left behind, but they totally wanted to stay, and that's their fault. No, you left behind thousands. According to the White House, they evacuated less than 5,000 people, and according to official estimates that there's around 10 to 15,000 Americans in Afghanistan at that time. They got less than 5,000 out, meaning bare minimum, there's 5,000 more Americans left. They stranded them there, probably to die. And it is absolutely despicable that the American government would fail its own people. So here it says that Psaki refused to comment as Republicans tore into the call where Biden told Ghani to try and show the world that they were beating the Taliban, whether it is true or not. Now I want to bring up the biggest biggest criticism and problem I have with this, and it's very simple. They would have impeached Donald J. Trump for far less than this, and are you telling me that Joe Biden is not going to be impeached? He needs to be removed from office. He needs to resign. Now, recently I've been seeing articles saying, fact check, did Joe Biden look at his watches and disrespect the families of the 13 fallen U.S. service members who died after the Kabul attack? They say false. He only checked his watch 1 or 2 times. It's like, oh my God. It is enraging. Because according to the families of the victims, who I 100% believe the families of the victims' testimony, more than the stupid fact checkers who are mostly biased cringe lords who need to just shut it. Okay, according to the families of the victims of the 13 U.S. service members who fell in Kabul after the Kabul airport attack by ISIS-K, according to them, Joe Biden checked his watch every single time they brought out a new casket. He was extremely disrespectful, and when he talked to the families, you know what he said? He just started ranting about his son, what's his name, Beau Biden. I know what it's like to lose a son. My son, Beau Biden, went overseas, and he was deployed, and he worked an office job, and literally didn't do combat, and then he came home, and then he died of random cancer. You don't know what it's like, Joe Biden. You don't know what it's like to lose a son or a daughter on the field in combat. This wasn't cancer. He didn't die because the leadership was utter buffoons, failures who got everybody killed. No. Biden, it's not about you, you narcissistic sociopath. But this is so typical of the Biden administration. Joe Biden makes everything about himself. That's why when he was talking to the families of the 13 fallen service members, all he could talk about was himself. I can't even think of a single family that said that they had anything positive to say about Joe Biden. All of them tore him down, tore him a new one. One of them even said, "You're going to burn in hell." Now, maybe that's going a little far. I don't know about that. But I will say, man, they have a right to be angry. And according to Jen Psaki, the content of their reporting is consistent with what has been said many times publicly. This is the direct quote. I want you to listen to this. Quote, "No one anticipated, the vast majority anticipated, that the Taliban would be able to take over the country as quickly as they did, or that the Afghan National Security Forces would fold as quickly as they did." This is a lie. You know, it's like on the Murray Show, where they get the letter, and they get the polygraph test results, and they're like, the test results determined this was a lie. And then the crowd goes wild, ah! And the guy's like, "No, I told the truth, Murray."
How about another joke, Murray?
No, I think we've had enough of your jokes.
Oh boy. They knew. What this leaked phone call really proves is that Joe Biden knew ahead of time that Afghanistan was falling, and he did not rescue American citizens. In fact, they focused on Afghan refugees. Why? Oh, I don't know. Maybe they want to ship them to swing states so that they can vote for Democrats. There's nothing these sociopaths won't do. They are, oh my God, they're, despicable. Oh, Commander-in-Chief. More like Commander-in-Queef out of his diapers. We're being run by the insane asylum, my friends. We don't have leaders running the country. We have buffoons getting our people killed. Why? For a photo op on 9/11. Joe Biden wanted credit for ending the 20-year war. You didn't end the 20-year war. You ended countless lives instead. Look at their faces, Joe Biden. These are the people you got killed. But do you think he loses any sleep? No. He's a self-important, delusional sociopath who barely knows where he is. Now, in other news, because I gotta talk about this because I've been telling people the pandemic will never end. It'll never be over. Here we are on the Daily Mail, and the following headline says, World Health Organization says it is monitoring a new Colombian COVID variant called Mu, amid fears it may be vaccine resistant as Delta infections finally slow in the US. So, the World Health Organization, which YouTube seems to simp for, says that we've got a new COVID variant. Surprise, surprise. Delta, Belta, Fligma, Sigma, Ligma balls. Got him. Whatever the case may be, there's always going to be more variants. There's always going to be mutations. At a certain point, the world has to learn to live with coronavirus just like we live with a common cold, just like we live with other diseases. But what a mess. You know, I don't understand why America has not cut off all trade with China. China caused this mess regardless of where the virus came from. I don't care if it came from a lab. I don't care if it came from a wet market. It came out of China. It's China's fault. Cut off all trade, end the relationship, take our money back, take our jobs back. Don't work with China. But there you go. Biden needs to be impeached. Period. I think that's all we can say at this point. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? Be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. As always, support the channel by joining me on Patreon or Subscribestar. Joining will give you access to a private Discord server, Fight Club. It's members only and exclusive, so be sure to join, as this channel is not monetized and is currently supported by viewers like you. If you want to donate, check out my donor box link or send me crypto. Links and addresses are down below. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious. Have a wonderful day, folks. I'll see you all next time.